If the condition is true, you need to execute the set of conditions or set of statements provided in that particular block of code, or else you need to execute a different block of code. In this block, we will try to see how if-else condition work in Python programming. So till now we have covered various beginner level topics in Python programming, and if you are watching this tutorial for the first time, I am providing the link in the description section below. I suggest you to refer those tutorials before getting started. So now, what is the use of if-else condition in Python programming? So let us consider you are having a scenario where you need to check the condition or you need to test the condition and move further based on the result. For example, if the condition is true, you need to execute the set of conditions or set of statements provided in that particular block of code, or else you need to execute a different block of code. So for example, let us consider a scenario. You need to provide the result to the student based on his marks. So for example, let us consider a variable marks, and here I am specifying 50. So now we need to segregate the student according to his marks. So for example, if marks greater than 35, so in this particular scenario we will be considering this particular marks as passing marks. So we will provide a print here stating that you have passed. So yes, that's it. And here in Python programming you can also skip the brackets here, you can skip the specification of brackets here, and also you just need to provide this semicolon here, or else it will be considered as an error. Also, there should not be any space between the semicolon and the condition. So even if you provide, it will be showing you a warning message that there is a white space before semicolon, so you need to avoid all the spaces. So now let's try to run this code and see the output here. So we have got you have passed. So as our marks are greater than 35, we got this print condition executed. So now let's try to make it as 5 and let's try to execute the code, and here you can observe we did not got any output because our condition is failed here. Why? Because 5 is not greater than 35, so the print statement is not executed here. Here we are having only one condition in if, so we are just checking it and we are trying to go to the next step. But what if there are multiple conditions which we need to check? For example, let's consider a scenario. Okay, our marks are not greater than 35 and we have failed in the exam. So to make it print on the screen, we will be using an else here. So inside the else also we will be providing a print. Inside the print statement we will be specifying you have failed. So now let's try to run this code, and now we have got the statement you have failed printed. Now let's try to debug and see what is happening behind the scene. So now here you can see, and now tap on the step into here. So the first condition it is checking and it is directly jumping to the else print statement here. Why? Because it has failed here. So 5 is not greater than 35, so it has skipped this execution of this statement and it directly went into the else condition here and printed out the print statement. So you might have seen that our cursor did not went to the else condition and it directly went to the print. Why? Because there is nothing to check here, so we have not provided any condition here, so it directly went inside the else and it has executed the print statement. Now let's try to see a different scenario where you need to compare For example, if you have got more than 60%, just let us consider, okay, let's consider as 70%. So if you have got more than 70%, we will be considering that as a distinction there. So now let's try to see this situation. So if you have got more than 70 marks, you have passed in distinction, okay, and else you have failed if you have got less than 35 marks. So how we will be specifying this? And if so marks are greater than 50, then we will be providing a print condition stating that you have passed. So let's make it 35 now, not 50. So now let's try to debug this just like we did previously. And now tap on the step into button here, so you can see our cursor is on if marks greater than 70 here. And when you tap on step into, so here you can see our initial marks are 5 here, so let us make it 75 and try to debug again. So here now let's try to tap on the step into button here. So when I tap on step into, you can see if marks greater than 70, it's a true condition, and the print statement here is executed. And when you tap on step into again, it is going through the second if condition also here, where marks it is comparing it with greater than 35, and also it is printing you have passed again. But we don't require multiple print statements here, right? You have passed in distinction, that's enough for us. Again, we don't want to print you have passed again, so we don't want to compare this greater than 35 scenario. Once we have got greater than 70, that means that we have crossed 35, right? So to make our program understand this situation, we will be providing elif here. So what elif does is, so if marks greater than 70, so it will be skipping all the below conditions and it will directly print this statement and stops there instead of checking all the below conditions. So now let's try to debug again. And now here you can observe, tap on the step into here. I suggest you to follow this tutorial and try the same in your or whatever the IDE you are using for Python programming, so that you will clearly observe what we are trying to do here. So tap on step into now, and our print statement is executed. And again when you tap on F7, so that's it, it is not going through any other condition. So in this scenario our performance of the program increases. So when you directly provide multiple if conditions, compiler will go through every if condition and will make our programming executes for a long time to provide the output. So to avoid all those situations, we try to provide here elif, which makes the condition executed only if the first condition is false. So for example, let us try to make this 65 now and try to debug the code here. So first of all it will execute the first condition anyhow, and now tap on the step into, it will go into elif because the first condition is false now. So 65 is not greater than 70, so it is checking the second elif condition. And yes, 65 is greater than 35, so it will not go into the else condition now. It will stop by executing the print statement present inside the elif block. In other programming languages like Java and C, you might have observed else if. So in Python it's called as elif here. And also you need to make sure you are following this particular syntax here. So generally for if else condition we provide a rounded brackets for the condition, and for the block of code we will be providing a curly brackets. So in Python we can just skip all this, and but you need to specify a semicolon here. If you have not specified the semicolon, it will be considered as an error. And also make sure one more thing here, you need to have 4 blocks of spaces here. This is called as indentation. So here you can see 1, 2, 3 and 4. So these are the 4 blocks of code you must have. So now let's try to remove the spaces here. So it will be considered as an error. So it will be showing indentation is not a multiple of 4 here. So there must be at least 4 blocks of space here, or else just remove all the spaces and tap on the tab button now, and it will automatically provide 4 spaces. Every time you provide a tab button, it will provide you the 4 spaces. And also if you provide more space also, it will be showing you a warning here. And also you can provide multiple print statements here, not only print statements. Depending upon your requirement, you can provide the code in multiple lines here, and this will also gets executed in different programming languages. We need to provide curly brackets compulsory if you are having more than one line of code in if or else condition. So here you can see we have got the 2 lines printed onto our console here. So yes, this is how we implement if and else condition in Python programming. So I hope you understood what is the usage of these conditions and how to execute them to improve the programming performance and also achieve the output as required based on the condition. So yes, this is it for this tutorial, and I hope you like this tutorial. If you like this tutorial, do like, share and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content on Python.